Hello, this is Janet Wright, and this is going to be an Archangel message recording made in early November 2019. And first, there will be messages from Archangel Metatron, and in about the last 15 minutes of the recording, there will be messages from Archangel Ariel. The recording was created in early November 2019, but it is a recording that has teaching that would be useful at any time. The topics center around a discussion of inner light, inner lightness, inner joy, and how to cultivate that more and more. Also a discussion of inner darkness and how there is lightness and darkness on the planet. And so I hope you appreciate this recording. It is also going to be released in a playlist on YouTube with the other videos that the archangels mentioned, so that if you wanted to, you could listen to it all as one big playlist, this recording and the related videos that were mentioned in the recording. And I will link that playlist in the information section of this video. So let's get to it. First, there will be messages from Archangel Metatron. Hey, Janet. Let's start talking about November 2019. So it is possible that people missed the October recording or didn't do the videos enough for October that were in the playlist with the Metatron recording video. So we're going to again put in the playlist that goes with this video. We're going to again put in the video about clearing energy blocks that affect the next 6 months, because it's still true that if you can clear late fall, winter, early spring energy blocks all at once, it's a real asset. It helps with all the family interactions and the colder winter and how that affects people psychologically, less daylight, etc. So we're going to again put that video, proactive clearing next 6 months, in the playlist for this recording, this November 2019 recording as well. It also has family beings in the title, and that's part of its value. And the winter holidays tend to bring family more to a forefront, even if you are not geographically near them, even if you're not communicating with them. That video would help you to find your freedom within the situations in which you're born in this life. So finding freedom is an interesting lead up into the topic that we have. There's more of a singular vision for this November 2019 recording, and that is inner light. It is often a comment that Janet gets after healings that people feel lighter. What does that mean? And what does inner lightness mean? And how can one cultivate that more in a more focused, thorough manner? Inner lightness. One way you could experiment with inner lightness is to walk somewhere. We this morning had Janet walk on her driveway and experiment with inner lightness. And as she was walking on the driveway, we had her turn up her inner lightness, and she felt hope and wonder and kindness and empathy. And then we had her turn down her inner lightness, and she felt a sense of sadness and heaviness and loneliness even. So this is something that you could experiment with. Obviously, don't leave it on the darkness setting for very long. It's just to show you that it is easier than you think to turn up your inner lightness or turn down your inner lightness. And I think it helps to experiment with that so that you realize, hey, my inner lightness is not turned up enough today. Now, inner light, I'm going to contrast it to grief. I think they are accurate. I think it's accurate to put them as opposites. So just as grief, many people associate grief with death and dying, but grief is many chakras. It affects many chakras. It refers to energy that blocks up in relation to loss or things ending or people transitioning to heaven. And so it does affect many chakras. And the polar opposite of grief is this inner light, inner lightness, and feeling lighter. And just as grief is dictated by a heaviness in many chakras and many aura layers, so is inner lightness. Another way to refer to inner lightness would be inner joy. I specifically say inner joy. Why do I do that? I say inner joy rather than joy because sometimes people confuse joy as having external reasons, external sparks. For example, I have joy because my marriage is good. I have joy because my boss gave me a raise. I have joy because of some sort of external factor that has occurred or several external factors. That is a misperception in most cases. Case in point, there are people that can be very, very depressed, even suicidal, with several external factors in their life technically very positive. For example, they could have a lot of money, or they could have a job that they did want. And it's an internal perspective that shifts due to a deterioration of their inner energy. Janet may have mentioned this before somewhere, but aura damage has a lot to do with suicidal thinking. So with inner lightness, inner joy, aura repair is an essential aspect to inner lightness and inner joy. The aura, the energy field around you, around your spirit, around your physical body as well. You have two auras, one around the astral body, one around the physical body. And the chakras of the physical body or the chakras of the astral body, those are different sets of chakras, they generate energy, and that energy forms bubbles, if you will, concentric spheres around the person or the physical body, and that creates the aura. So the aura is a protective field of energy. And if you're thinking in a more complex way with the layers, the 7 layers to the aura, it's a protective field of energy which is comprised of 7 protective fields within it, much like layers of an onion. So the first layer of the aura is the closest layer all around, say, the physical body or the astral body, in the case of the astral body aura. So where am I going with this? I'm talking about aura repair as being essential for inner joy and lightness, because if you have damage to your aura, say a few big rips in the back or upper back, it allows your energy to leak out to the point where you are less strong, less centered, less focused, and it allows invasive energy that can drastically alter your mood and your sense of your entire life. And as I said, in cases of extreme and long-term aura damage, people do tend to contemplate if their life truly has any worth, and very dramatic, negative things like that. But fear not, aura damage will not cause you to... your life has value, and your angels want you to make the most of the opportunity that you're given with your life. And so your angels are always going to try to give you more opportunities to learn. They're always going to try to support you. Why don't angels just fix somebody's aura? Well, sometimes they do. But on the other hand, it is essential to evolvement, to self-strengthen, to see opportunities where they exist, opportunities for learning, opportunities for growth, opportunities for healing, and make the most of those opportunities. So this is why aura repair is something that you can learn, you can take part in, and you don't have to expect that your angels do it for you every day, because they don't. Even me, Archangel Metatron, I would not repair your aura every day if you had the option to learn how to do it yourself. I would prefer that you learn how to do it yourself, and therefore you increase your empowerment and your power on a spirit level. To be regenerative, to be strengthening at that level is a real game changer on a spirit, in the spirit world. So aura repair is one of these game changer aspects where you can recreate your energy field, you can make yourself whole and safe yet again. So it is not only metaphorically part of the meaning of life, part of why you are here in this life, in any lifetime, is to become whole, become more strong, become more inwardly aware. But it is literally how a process that would enable you to be safe and be more whole. So obviously we'll put aura repair videos in the playlist for November 2019 that goes with this video. But more than that, inner lightness when you turn on your inner lightness and you turn it up, you are opening up to your eternal wisdom more. You are opening up to the earth more. You are attuning yourself to listen to positive potentials that already exist on the earth. You could stand in the same point on earth and think and perceive so much negativity and so much violence and so much destruction. Whereas you could also stand on that same point on the earth and perceive mind-blowing positiveness and miracles and regenerating and strengthening and compassion and kindness and awesome beauty. It has to do with your inner lightness. What you are aware of, what you can perceive. It is true that some people only perceive the lightness and do not perceive the darkness in any way. In some ways, they are blind to the darkness. And for some, that has to do with their path. They are meant to show others the lightness on the planet. So it helps them to not see the darkness in any way. However, what I would suggest is full vision, full awareness of it all, the darkness and the lightness, but have the lightness so turned up that what you feel is the lightness. What you feel is the miracles, the compassion, the kindness, the regenerating that is happening everywhere, the growth, the inner strength, the courage, the boldness that people and animals and the whole planet is generating, while keeping an awareness of the darkness, because it is more practical that way. That way you understand the value of a safe and whole aura. You understand the value of wide and flowing and strong grounding. You understand the value of mending up your energy field every day. If the world truly was nothing but lightness, there would be no need to mend up your energy quite so much. However, the world has both lightness and darkness, and that is why it is essential. In order to make the most of your life, you need some processes, either subconscious or conscious, that mend you up, that make you whole, because that wholeness is a strong defense or barrier, if you will, to darkness. And if your inner lightness is turned up and your inner joy is turned up, then it does not haunt you, the darkness on the planet. You can be aware, but you can be very comforted and very uplifted by the flow of your own energy, the feeling of your own eternal wisdom, the knowledge and awareness of all the wonderful things that are happening. So how do you experiment and play with this inner darkness and inner lightness, as we've been discussing? Well, I would suggest a simple exercise. And if you know you need aura repair, do that first. Janet has a video, Gold Energy Aura Buffer Zones. If you've never done aura repair, that would be the video to give you the best foundation of knowledge and practice. Gold Energy Aura Buffer Zones. We are going to have Janet add aura repair in the title if it's not there, because it really is the foundational video to learn aura repair that she has, as well as the companion technique, Gold Buffers. So that's first. If you need aura repair, repair your aura. But then you could, as we said, do some mindful walking and start with a tricolor earth energy soak, which is a simple video if you don't already know the process by heart. But it is so simple that you can learn the process by heart, and that is half of its value, because then you can do the process when you're walking to the mailbox. You can do the process when you are walking to the train. You can do the process while you're on the train. You can do the process when you're at a stoplight in your car. You can do the process when you're waiting for a meeting to start at work. It is simple and also non-threatening to those around you. When you bring up for example, the red earth energy at the start of the tricolor earth energy soak process, you're just making your energy field a little bit more like a forest, a little more comforting, a little more calm and serene. And that would not unsettle anyone around you. So you can literally do it anywhere at any time that you wish. But anyway, so you bring up the red earth energy, you soak, you bring it down, you bring up the orange earth energy, you soak, you bring it down, you bring up yellow earth energy, you soak in it, and leave it up or don't, but just stay grounded. And then with the inner darkness and the inner lightness, you can find your own way that your mind appreciates best. But it could be simply your intention, almost like a dimmer switch on the wall. And you could turn it up to inner lightness or down to inner darkness first, whichever you prefer, starting with. And then just take a few steps with that one, and then turn it towards the other, the opposite. So inner lightness, then to inner darkness, a few steps with inner darkness, and then turn it back up to inner lightness and a few steps there. And obviously, we would love for you to have more time spent at the inner lightness. But try to go back and forth and notice, how do you feel with the inner darkness? Technically, it makes you hear the suffering on the planet more. It makes you hear your own echoes of suffering that you've been through in the past, a little bit that you may not be over with, but it basically makes you receptive to the suffering of others. And that's why, obviously, we want you to have your aura repaired first and your tricolor soak first, so everything's flowing pretty well and safe. And then, so it's just an experiment, so you can see, that's how I feel some days. And you know what it is now. You know that it's an inner darkness, that your setting is off. And it's better and more uplifting, of course, to have it set in the opposite direction towards inner lightness and inner joy. You could imagine it like an old radio dial, and you turn it one way and that's towards the inner darkness, and then you turn it the other way and that's towards the inner lightness. So you could be literal about the inner darkness and the inner light, and allow extra brightness for inner light and big gold suns within you. You can give yourself a giant big, maybe healing energy flowers of lots of bright colors of the rainbow and gold, and have your angels check them and give them to yourself. And that can be a nourishing exercise that can help you to have more of the inner lightness. It could be some of you have trouble getting to that inner lightness setting. And so healing energy flowers would be really good with that. We'll have Janet we'll help Janet to pick out some of her energy healing flowers videos that you could use. Although what we're suggesting is specifically energy healing flowers that help you find your inner lightness. So you can just have your intention be that you're creating healing energy flowers of whatever rainbow colors and gold that validate and activate your inner lightness, your inner joy, and then have your angels double check those flowers and then just give them to yourself. So that concludes what I wanted to discuss. So now I'm going to let Archangel Ariel speak to all of you. And I thank you and I appreciate the opportunity to speak these ideas. And I also congratulate you all at being more dedicated to your awareness and your growth and involvement. Thank you. Hey, this is Ariel, and I don't need to speak for very long. I was admiring the concise messages that Metatron had this time. And of course, I do have a little bit to add to that. The inner joy, the inner lightness. I do think that practical information about how aura repair relates to inner lightness and inner joy is important. And I would like to go a bit further in explaining that and add one other practical aspect that also helps inner lightness and inner joy that you may not have considered before. So first, to just further support Metatron's topic of how the aura repair is essential, it is because there is lightness and darkness. And so having a repaired aura means that you don't have rips, which means that your aura stays within, your energy stays within your aura. And so you have stronger defenses. And it is less likely that an invasive spirit that could be labeled as a dark spirit would be able to impact you in any way. So that is how aura repair helps. And I did want to also take an opportunity to reduce fear about invasive spirits. Invasive spirits, I think there is misinformation about invasive spirits. Yes, there are invasive spirits on the planet, and even people can be invasive. People accidentally often are invasive. Sometimes they're just trying to help and they mean well, and they are invasive, thinking that will help. Here, how can I help? How can I help? And all of a sudden they're in your heart chakra, blocking it up. Did they mean to block it up? No, of course not. But they're trying to help you. And so they're going towards your center of enthusiasm and they're trying to open it up more. But of course, they're stomping all over the place. It's like if you're trying to help a garden and then you end up stomping all over it instead of really helping it. So this idea of invasiveness does not need to be so feared. It is much more common than one might think. As case in point, that the helper could block up your heart chakra just as likely as an invasive spirit that is more blocking up your fourth chakra on purpose to take energy and to receive energy, to steal energy. So there is this reality of that you need to exist. You need to be whole. If you are not whole, then you are not in a strong position to correct people's invasive behaviors and to defend your energy field in the midst of invasive beings. Should you fear invasive beings? Should you fear invasive people? No, not. It's not logical because invasiveness is so common. As I said, even with well-intentioned people, it would be like fearing water or fearing the sky or fearing blades of grass. It's true that some people do fear those things, but it doesn't carry logical meaning. If you can get blocked up equally by somebody who is super, super kind and well-intentioned as you can by a negative spirit, well then why be afraid of either? Why not just work on your inner wholeness, your inner strength, and understand that every positive action you take, every positive thought you take strengthens you and strengthens your boundaries and better prepares you for being in the real world where lightness or darkness can be invasive and can block your flow and therefore cause you to have more inner darkness. In other words, what I want to bring out is this idea, Metatron hinted at it because he said to do the tricolor earth energy soak as you're doing your mindful walking, as you're experimenting with inner lightness and inner darkness, just to see what it feels like momentarily. He said do a tricolor earth energy soak. Why did he say that? Well, he said that to improve your flow, to unblock your grounding, to jumpstart releasing in everywhere in your space. Tricolor Earth Energy Soak is almost deceptively simple. Not deceptive in a bad way, but it's so simple a process, but it jumpstarts a lot of releasing, and it gets you much more present. So much like aura repair, flow is very important for inner lightness. It's really being blocked that makes you automatically hear the darkness and the suffering on the planet more. If you're blocked, it's like you're a receptor to other people, other situations that have stagnant energy. So other suffering, other grief, other sadness, other despair or trauma. And it's flow that helps you feel better. It helps you function better, and also helps you listen to all the positive things and events and thoughts that are truly occurring right now on the planet. So that would mean that not only aura repair, but inner flow has a lot to do with inner lightness and inner joy. So you can pick, there are so many different ways to help your inner flow. Janet goes about it in so many different directions, in part because different people think differently. And even the same person in 1 month might prefer one technique, and then 3 months later, they prefer a different technique. So that's why Janet has such a big variety of videos that increase flow. Tricolor Earth Energy Soak, obviously, is one of the simplest ways. It's a 5-minute video. Even kids learn it quite quickly and easily. Another one would be the Sticky Gold Wax 7 Chakras video. That's a nice one. That's, again, only 5 minutes, and it unblocks all the chakras and melts, helps detach cords from all the chakras as well. Another one, Comfort Zone. There's a video that has Comfort Zone in the title, and that video also helps inner flow because it helps you heal and unblock in a situational way, helps you be more comfortable with a certain situation, and therefore it pinpoints situations where you are more blocked and helps you unblock and get more flow with those situations. So I would put that Comfort Zone video pretty high up in the playlist, maybe right after aura repair, right after Tricolor Soak. You could put Janet could put the Comfort Zone video even above the Healing Energy Flower videos. Although the Healing Energy Flower videos are very simple and very effective, the Comfort Zone one is powerful because it helps you to target situations where you are least comfortable and helps you to work on that and dislodge your inner blocks so that you can basically access your inner lightness much more in those situations. So that's really what I wanted to say. I just wanted to flesh out just a teeny bit more what Metatron had been saying about inner lightness and inner joy, and how it, when you play with this internal setting and you get used to experimenting with it more and more, you can, as Metatron suggested, keep it on a setting where you feel so much inner lightness, but yet you are also conscious of darkness in a non-upsetting way, in a non-disturbing way, just so that you have a rational awareness of the fullness of existence, because that will help you to understand what's going on sometimes. If your aura rips up, you lose your flow, you could all of a sudden not only be pretty dysfunctional internally, but also all of a sudden you're subconsciously hearing all the suffering on the planet, and boy, do you feel bad. So it is important and logical to understand that there is lightness and darkness on the planet. There is joy, there is suffering on the planet, and not to demonize any of it, just to understand that your wholeness, your inner strength, and your ability to self-regulate and become more whole through quick, simple measures really transforms the potential of your morning, of your afternoon, of your evening, technically of your whole life. But I think it's good to approach it in a smaller range and just say, well, I want to improve my morning. I want to improve my afternoon. As well as thinking big picture. Sometimes if you think a little too big picture too much, you may rise out of your physical body and kind of disconnect from the day-to-day in a way that is not healthy and does not accelerate your growth and learning as much. We want you to be very present, and the tricolor earth energy soak will help quite a bit with that, because you're soaking in earth energy from the center of the earth, so it helps you resonate with the earth and with your physical body more. The idea is to bring your inner joy in to your physical existence, not that joy exists in the clouds and misery exists on the earth. No. There is plenty of joy occurring on the planet, and you can bring your own joy down within your physical form and therefore experience profoundly deeper levels of compassion, joy, wonder, miracles. And that's what we want you to be able to do in a micro level, one morning at a time, one afternoon at a time, one evening at a time. So that's all. And again, these messages are particularly good for November of any year, honestly, as it's getting darker and colder for the Northern Hemisphere. So I hope that you enjoy, and I will have Janet put inner lightness and inner darkness in the title as well, just so that hopefully people can listen to this recording any time of year as well. Okay, thank you so much, and I will let Janet rest now. Hey, it's me, Janet. I always think that's funny when they're so nice about it. Okay, so this is me, Janet Wright, and I hope you enjoyed those messages. And thank you so much. Bye.